Prince Harry's name is making waves again, and no, not for charity work or some royal goodwill stunt. This time, it's dark, twisted, and enough to make the palace break out in a cold sweat. Word on the street is that something seriously horrifying just exploded inside the gates of Montecito, and while the palace remains zipped up and silent, the whispers getting louder behind the scenes are straight up jaw-dropping. Here's the alleged bombshell. Harry was found unconscious in his California mansion. Let that hit. And no, we're not talking about a little faint or exhaustion from a workout. The whispers claim this was tied to heavy use. It wasn't a bad day situation. It was full-on collapse. And guess who wasn't around during this terrifying ordeal? Meghan. In fact, she wasn't just missing. She allegedly ditched the scene and zipped off to party with her exclusive clique at a private members-only club. Can you believe that? Let's dig deeper into this storm of scandal. According to sources tight with the Royal Security Unit, it was Harry's longtime protector David Langdown who found him. Not just any bodyguard. Langdown is a former Scotland Yard powerhouse and a man so loyal, the late Queen awarded him a medal. This man has been with Harry since his wilder days in the early 2000s. His literal job is to keep Harry alive, and this time, he may have actually saved his life. Now listen, rumors about Harry, old news, but this is different. This wasn't a blurry Vegas night or wild photos leaking to the tabloids. This was reportedly a full-on medical emergency, sirens blaring, a mad dash and when the hospital stabilized him after hours of intense care, the royal family was not by his side.
There's a fair amount of drugs, marijuana, magic mushrooms, cocaine. I mean, that's gonna surprise people.
But important to acknowledge.
That shouldn't affect him too much, but it just shows he's a very stupid man. Because there's so many instances. I mean, one of the things that he's been complaining about—
magic mushrooms in California.
You idiot.
And Meghan, instead of rushing to the hospital like any normal spouse would, she allegedly dipped to create a cover story. It's being said, not speculated, that she was seen laughing with friends at an elite club the very same night. No tears, no panic, just cocktails, smirks, and cold-hearted detachment. But this is not about one terrifying night. No, there's something darker bubbling beneath it all. Because if even half of this is true, then Prince Harry has been spiraling for years, and nobody did a damn thing to stop it. Let's rewind the royal reels. It's not just Meghan. Penny Junor, one of the most respected royal biographers, hinted that Harry's struggles with substances go way back, way before Meghan ever came into the picture. Remember the early 2000s whispers started swirling about Harry smoking weed, drinking hard, and partying like there was no tomorrow? But it wasn't just teenage rebellion. Sources say the spiral got ugly, fast. We're talking hard substances, blackouts, and palace aides in full panic mode. And instead of intervention, Prince Charles reportedly built a nightclub inside Highgrove, a private disco in the backyard, as if that was the solution. And it gets wilder. In 2007, disturbing stories started surfacing. One so unbelievable, they sound made up, like Harry allegedly snorting vodka. Not drinking, snorting. And no, this wasn't some drunken college prank. Medical experts have said this can cause death in seconds. And somehow, the press barely blinked. Why? Because the only outlet that dared to touch it, News of the World, got shut down over a completely unrelated scandal. The rest? Radio silence. No outrage, no headlines, just royal damage control. Meanwhile, Meghan's name keeps creeping in there, and not in a flattering way. Sources allege she's known everything about Harry's condition. Worse, some are whispering that she's been enabling it. Yup, rumor has it Meghan allegedly keeps Harry doped up and dependent, using his vulnerabilities to stay in control of the narrative. And trust me, this theory didn't pop up out of thin air. Back when Meghan was just another actress hustling in Hollywood, her name was already circling certain party circuits. Her first wedding in Jamaica? Allegedly legendary. For all the wrong reasons. Guests say the wedding favor bags came pre-packed with rolled joints, hand-rolled by Meghan herself. Some guests didn't even realize what they were carrying until they were back on U.S. soil. That little party trick could have landed people in jail, and Meghan smiled right through it. Then there's Doria, Meghan's mom. According to insiders, Doria has her own shady ties. Allegedly, she's still connected to certain underground California networks. Whether or not that's true, the rumor mill is grinding hard with claims that the Markle women know how to get what they want and how to silence anyone in their way. And it only gets darker. Meghan isn't just accused of tolerating Harry's issues. Some say she's allegedly weaponizing them, that she's keeping him broken, dazed, and dependent so she can run the show. And where Where's everyone else in this mess? Well, apparently they've known for years. Everyone, from senior palace aides to respected royal correspondents, nearly all of them have stories. Stories of Harry raging in private, drug-fueled outbursts, wild antics, and mental breakdowns. And yet, silence. Every time the truth got too close, a PR campaign magically wiped it all away. Cue a charity appearance. Cue a military photo op. Cue Harry in uniform smiling for the camera. It worked every time. Remember the laughing gas incident? No. That's because they buried it. Reportedly, Harry inhaled an entire medical-grade canister of nitrous oxide during a hospital visit. These canisters are highly regulated and only meant for patient use. But Harry, he got his hands on one. And the press looked the other way. Now bring in the military timeline. Harry's army days? Apparently just as messy. Rumors suggest drug tests were mysteriously skipped or falsified. One former palace staffer claims that when a surprise test was announced, Harry was immediately flown out of base. Others whisper about an incident involving both vodka and cocaine, covered up just like all the rest. Fast forward to now. What do we have? A man reportedly on the brink, lost, addicted, surrounded by enablers. Meghan allegedly setting up her alibi. The palace playing mute. The press still fluffing up royal puff pieces. And the only one actually stepping up? David Langdown, Harry's loyal protector. He's seen it all, from wild parties in Vegas to this California chaos, and he's the one who finally stepped in. But even with Langdown's heroic move, it might be too late, because this isn't a one-off. This is a pattern, a slow, dangerous collapse years in the making, and everyone, from Meghan to the palace to the media, has blood on their hands. The royal family is terrified. When a royal spirals this far, it's not just about scandal, it's about the legacy. Harry wasn't just a prince gone rogue. He's a man who's been protected from the consequences of his own destruction for decades. And now that safety net is fraying. And the palace? Oh, they're scrambling. According to well-placed sources, King Charles was immediately informed the moment Harry landed in the ER. No public statements, no press conference, just chaos behind closed doors. Phones lit up across London, lawyers were briefed, and the PR machine fired up in panic mode. But here's the kicker, they weren't working to help Harry, they were trying to contain the story. Because if this thing explodes, it won't just ruin Harry, it could demolish the entire carefully staged royal fairy tale. And Meghan? Her name is now on every whispering lip in royal circles. If it's true that she bolted to a club that night knowing her husband had collapsed, then the palace won't forgive. Not this time. Her absence says everything. It paints her as cold, strategic, and completely detached. The word floating around, will I be? Meghan didn't run because she was scared. She ran so she could be seen somewhere else. And now the conversation is shifting. It's no longer just about Harry's recklessness. It's about Meghan being the real danger, her past, her influence, her alleged manipulation. Senior palace officials are now reportedly combing through everything from the past 5 years, looking for patterns, for proof. Did Meghan supply drugs? Did she isolate Harry? Did she build an environment where he couldn't escape? And Doria? She's not just a background player anymore. Some claim Doria's been deeply involved, possibly even helping facilitate access to certain substances. Again, nothing's been proven, but the fact that these whispers are now echoing inside royal halls tells you everything. And while divorce isn't on the table yet, the legal teams are reportedly preparing for something bigger, public fallout. Because if Harry doesn't fully recover, or if he starts speaking publicly about what happened, this entire house of cards could come crashing down. And if it does come crashing down, Meghan might not just be out of the palace's good graces, she could be public enemy #1 in royal history. Because if even a thread of this points to her involvement in Harry's downward spiral, the firm won't cover for her. Not anymore. The protection she once enjoyed, the silence from Buckingham and Clarence House, the palace-approved narratives, gone. This time, they're not shielding her. It was David Langdown, the man who's had his back when no one else truly did. The same David who's seen Harry at his worst over and over again and still chose to step up. But how many times can even he pull Harry back from the edge? Because this isn't just a cry for help. This is a man hanging by a thread. A man whose every move is watched, yet whose most terrifying moments happen completely alone. No brother, no father, and allegedly no wife when it mattered most. That night, while Harry lay vulnerable in a hospital bed, it wasn't Meghan holding his hand. It wasn't Doria or any trusted family friend. It was silence. Meghan, according to those close to the matter, had vanished into the night, snapping selfies with elite LA friends, while her husband's life was hanging in the balance. And it's that cold absence that's now haunting royal circles. It's not just Harry's state of mind being questioned, it's Meghan's intention. People are asking, was this all calculated? Was she creating her public image as the strong, independent Duchess while secretly letting her husband fall apart in private? Did she strategically distance herself that night to keep her name clean? And now, with emergency response teams involved and leaks getting harder to contain, the royal establishment is preparing for battle. Internally, they're bracing for backlash, potential legal action, and worst of all, public exposure. The press has held back for years, but with this story, there's only so long they can hold the dam. Once the headlines start linking Meghan to addiction, medical emergencies, and possible manipulation, it'll be impossible to spin. And the palace knows it. Already there are murmurs of damage control efforts being fast-tracked. PR teams are digging through archives, prepping statements, and crafting strategies just in case the worst happens. They're not just protecting the crown, they're preparing to protect what's left of Harry's reputation. Because as much as they might have covered for him before, if this turns into a public health scandal with addiction, betrayal, and manipulation on full display, they might have no choice but to let Harry fall to save themselves. They're reportedly done. The palace isn't buying the misunderstood Duchess narrative anymore, not after what just went down. According to insiders, even the Queen Consort Camilla has privately expressed concern over Meghan's influence. Allegedly, she's told close confidants that she believes Meghan's presence has magnified Harry's fragility. Strong words from a woman who usually stays above the fray. But it's not just Camilla. William, who's been estranged from Harry for years, has reportedly gone full silent. No outreach, no statement, just cold, deliberate distance. One insider claims William was not surprised by the incident, but deeply furious over Meghan's alleged abandonment. And Charles, the king, is said to be rattled, not just as a father, but as a monarch, because this isn't just about family anymore, this is about the crown. If the press gets a hold of medical records, if footage leaks, if Meghan's name ends up tied to even one illegal act, there's no walking it back. It will taint the monarchy forever. And the worst part, none of this needed to happen. Harry didn't have to reach this point. But he didn't have to collapse alone in a mansion with no real family support and a wife allegedly partying while his life hung in the balance. He could have had help. He could have had real intervention, but every time he got close, someone pulled him back into silence, into secrecy. Now it's too late to pretend. There's no more spinning charity events or curated documentaries. There's no more healing podcast episodes or red carpet photo ops. This time, the truth has clawed its way to the surface, and the world is watching. Behind the scenes, emergency meetings are reportedly happening daily. Advisors, lawyers, crisis managers, all strategizing for every possible outcome. And while Meghan stays publicly silent, insiders say she's in full defense mode, allegedly working with her own PR team, planning her next move. Because she knows what's coming. If Harry recovers and chooses to speak out even slightly, if he gives an interview, writes a follow-up book, or drops even one hint about what really happened, that's it. Game over. For her, for their brand, and maybe even for the illusion that she was ever the victim in this saga. And if he doesn't recover, then the silence will scream even louder. And Meghan's absence that night, that will haunt her forever, because no matter how many dresses she wears, charities she promotes, or cameras she smiles for, the world won't forget that when her husband needed her most, she allegedly chose the party. And while the palace prepares for impact and Meghan allegedly crafts her next headline, the real tragedy remains unchanged. Prince Harry, the boy who walked behind his mother's coffin, is now a man lost in his own storm, surrounded by people who either used him, ignored him, or watched him crumble without lifting a hand. And in the end, for all the wealth, fame, and royal lineage, he was just another soul screaming for help. Only this time, the whole world heard it. And now it might be too late to save him.